Hi guys, so today I'm making another video and yes, it's a cooking one. I'm going to be showing you guys how to make roasted butternut squash with couscous. So I posted this image on my Instagram like a few days ago, but yeah, I'm just going to be putting the recipe out there now. I haven't had time to create any makeup looks yet, but there are some coming. I'm gonna literally be working on a few bits and pieces and then I'll be posting some very soon. But yeah, at the moment I'm just focusing more on like the food kind of aspect of my channel because I love cooking and I love sharing recipes with other people, so that's mainly what I've been posting on my Instagram at the moment. So yes, I'm basically just making this video just to kind of show you guys how I made what I made and the steps that I went about making it. Hey guys, so I am super excited to be doing this video. I've just got all of my ingredients laid out. So I've got some butternut squash, I've got some leeks and an onion and some garlic. I use about 2 cloves, but you can use however much you prefer. I just really love garlic, so I just always add a lot. And then we've got some yellow bell peppers, couscous, and some Chinese greens. I absolutely love them. They're so delicious, so good. So I just washed the pepper and I just chopped it up to little cubes. I just cut it as fine as I could get it, really.
So many verses, type them or put them in cursive. Deep like I'm burying hearses, preach like I'm doing up churches. Sin for a bit, I got urges. They got Chanel bags and purses, and I got some mashed up vans.
And then I just smashed both the cloves of garlic. It actually made it so much easier when taking off the outer layers of the garlic clove. And it also makes it a lot easier when you're chopping it up as well. And then I just got my onion and cut both ends of that and just took off any of the outer layers on the side. And then I just cut it in half and then just continue to peel off the layers. It was a bit tricky actually doing this with my fake nails. And then I'm just going to chop it quite roughly, just as much as you can to get it as fine as possible. And then we're just going to cube that again into little pieces so that it will be easier to incorporate with the other ingredients. And then I like to put all my ingredients on a plate just so that it's all out of the way if I'm preparing a lot of ingredients. So I just pop that all on there so then I can continue to prep the rest of my food for the meal. And I'm just going to pop that on the side. So now I'm going to prepare my butternut squash. Just going to rinse that. And then I'm just going to literally peel the outer layers of the skin off. I've never actually cooked with the skin on, but if you want to do that, go ahead and try. But I feel like it might be quite tough, the outer layer. So once I've done that, I just give it another rinse just to get rid of any of the peel that's on the outside. And then I'm literally just going to cut that into rings. And I did actually scoop out most of the insides already, but we're just going to make sure that everything's completely clean from it because we don't want to have any seeds when we're eating it. So I'm just going to scoop that out with a spoon.
I've got the camera, my girls are posing. I need some backup, then my ones are rolling. Grown women things, I'm never at risk. Mind my own business, I'm never in mess. Who am I ain't babe, get a slice of the cake. Want a house with a view and a new pair of shoes. Keep it real from the jump, Gucci gang, little pump, little vibe, little bass, little kick, little snare, little lies, big truths. Do you, they don't care. Do you, they don't care. Get your ass at the box and build up from there. I don't have a gang with me, but I still walk with a gangster lean. I rock Nikes cause we think they're clean. MJ leather jacket, beat it Billie Jean. MJ leather jacket cause I think I'm bad.
That's cool, I like it. The growth, the light, the pain.
And then once I've done that, I just give them another rinse just to get rid of any of the little bits on it. And now I'm just going to prepare the leek. So when you do this, of course, you want to take the outer layer of the leek off first, because sometimes there can be dirt or grit in between the leaves, and just cut the end off as well. I use about half a leek, but if you want to use the whole thing, go ahead. I just tried to make enough for me and my dad because there's only 2 of us eating, but if there's more, then just feel free to use the whole amount.
So many verses, type them or put them in cursive. Deep like I'm buried in hearses, preach like I'm doing up churches. Sin for a bit, I got.
And then I'm just going to again put all my ingredients on another plate just to separate everything out. And I have all my veggies prepared now, so I continue with the next process. So I'm just going to give the greens a rinse and just chop off the ends. And I just kept them as whole leaves. If you want to, you know, chop them up a little bit smaller, go ahead and do that. But I just kept them as smaller leaves for the time being. And I've got all my ingredients prepared, so now I can just go straight into cooking. So now I'm actually just gonna measure out my couscous. Before I do that, I just put in some chives, about a pinch of chives, and a pinch of salt as well, just to add some extra flavour. And I did about 1 cup of couscous. This was actually enough for about 4 people. But if you were like meal prepping, then you can just pop it into Tupperwares or use it for other meals. And I did about 3 cups of water. And then just give that a mix with all the herbs and spices inside, and then pop that on the hob. So now we're going to make the batter for the butternut squash rings. I just got some dried breadcrumbs and just added that to a plate. And then I sprinkled some salt into that as well because I want to have a nice flavour on the outside. And I added some sesame seeds. The sesame seeds add such a nice tasty flavour to the food, so I definitely recommend it. Or if you don't have sesame seeds, use any other kind of seeds that can go in the mixture. And just mix that in with your fork just to make sure the salt's incorporated, the breadcrumbs and the sesame seeds. So now I'm just going to measure out the egg replacer batter. So I used 1 tablespoon of egg replacer, and then I literally put about maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of water. So you can add more, but I'd say add a little bit less first, so then you can always add more to it, because if you're trying to get a coating on the outside, you still want it to be a decent kind of consistency. But as you can see, mine is still a little bit thick, so then I did actually add more water to it just to make it a little bit thinner, and also so that I could just have enough to coat all of the ingredients that I had. And then I'm just literally going to roll the rings into the egg replacer batter just to make sure that they're fully coated and that the breadcrumbs can really stick to that. Once I've done that, I'm literally just going to go ahead and dunk all of the pieces into the breadcrumb and sesame mix, and just make sure that you coat every piece as much as you can so that you can have a really nice crispy outer layer on the outside. Then I just popped it on a baking tray with some foil just to make sure that it doesn't stick, and then you can just pop that in the oven at 180 degrees. So I've just got my couscous on the stove, and I'm going to let that cook for about 20 minutes. actually takes quite quick to cook. And then I also added the onions and the peppers because I just wanted to add some extra flavour and crunch to the rice, and that's just going to soften up as it cooks. And then I just prepared some black olives for the couscous as well. I just drained them off using this mini strainer, but it got a bit overloaded with the olives and just dropped. So yeah, I just recommend if you have a bigger strainer, just use that because it will just be so much easier. But we got there in the end, and yeah, I just added about maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of olives, however many you like. They don't have to be black olives, you can use any type of olives you like, but I just thought I'd just use what I have in my fridge, so that's what I did. And I'll just chop them up really finely into little circles just to add to the rice, and it just adds a really nice flavour to it and just another kind of texture to the couscous. And there they are, all chopped up. I'm just going to add them to the couscous and just mix them all in. Just give it a good mix. Feel free to add any other seasonings, or if you have any fresh herbs, if you want to just add any more extra flavour, and give it a taste as well to see how the seasoning is. So now I've taken out my butternut squash rings from the oven, and I'm going to pop them back in just to crisp up just a little bit more. They were almost done. And now I'm going to get my greens ready. This is really simple and really quick. I put 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, and then I put my garlic and leeks in the pan, and then a bit of salt as well, and some pepper. And then I literally just combine the pak choy with the rest of the ingredients, and it wilts down really quickly. So I just added that in, and it literally took about maybe 5 minutes to cook with the leeks. I put the leeks in for a little bit longer to make sure they're cooked. And then I also sprinkled some extra sesame seeds on top because I really like the crunch that it gives with the fresh greens and the leeks and all the other really tasty ingredients that are inside it. So just give that a mix and make sure that's all incorporated. Add any flavourings, any extra seasonings you might want to add to it. I just added a little bit of hot water, literally a dash, just to kind of help everything combine really well with each other. Then pop the pan back on and just let that simmer down. So now I'm just going to take the butternut squash rings out the oven. Look how crispy and yummy they look. Oh my gosh, literally they were so good, and they're so simple and easy to make as well. So I'm just going to start to plate up my food. So I had this little kind of pyramid kind of shaped bowl, so I just added my couscous to that, and I just pressed it down once it was in the mould. So I was trying to make it look pretty, so yeah, I just kind of added as much as I needed, and then basically got the plate on top of that and flipped it over, and there you have it. It looks so cute. Trying to make it Instagram worthy. And then you just add your butternut squash rings on top. Obviously there were plenty left, so you can always eat them like I did, or just save them for another day, for meal or for lunch. And then I just plated up my greens onto that with the Chinese greens and the leeks. And then I just added some sun-dried tomatoes as well because I absolutely love them. I love the sweet, tangy flavour that it has, and I thought that would go really nice with the couscous, just to kind of add an extra flavour to that. I put about 3 on there, but you can always add more if you want to. I was just getting this ready to take a good picture for Instagram. And there we have it. This is the finished meal. It was honestly so good and so tasty. It's so light and delicious, and it's really going to fill you up. And obviously if you're meal prepping, you're going to have plenty of food available if you want to put that into Tupperware or have that for lunch or dinner the next day. But it really is worth it, and I hope you guys give it a try. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I absolutely enjoyed cooking that and eating it, of course. I'm going to be posting a few more recipes in the next few days, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.